coming in for Well Smitten, most notably, and also Niven as well. Del Oro's the 7-4 favourite, 3-1 in Bole. The support for Well Smitten went 5-1 into 4-1, out to 9-2. It's dried up for Niven too. He went 6s into 5s and back out to 6s again. And Bole seems solid enough, but Del Oro, the favourite and the one to beat at 7-4.
A few of these have got things to prove, haven't they, Jonathan? Del Oro's got to show that he can finish the race off better, as you put it. And Bole's got to show that he wants 2.5, because he's quite free going. But the Skeltons know what they're doing, but it is something that's not yet proven. Well Smitten's got to show that he's up to this rising grade. I'm not quite sure what Niven has got to prove. And he's as big as 6-1.
Oh, well, so we're about to nail another one to the floor here, aren't we? Well,
Arthur's Rue didn't stop him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm surprised he's quite as big as that, Niven, because he's got a lot of positives in his favour. Now, Well Smitten made all the running here on Boxing Day, and Bole tends to be a free-going, front-running type as well, so there might be a duel for the lead, or one of them might just allow the other to go on. There is stamina in Mbole's pedigree, which suggests that a step up in trip will be within his range. It's just a matter of whether his style of running will allow him to see it out.
Del Oro will find this a little bit easier, won't he, than Kempton?
Yeah, it's an easier race than the Kempton one. Certainly, he just doesn't win often enough. Yeah. For my liking. There's been one or two occasions where the effort has rather flattened out at the end.
Well Smitten didn't put a foot wrong.
No.
When he won here on Boxing Day. £8 and going from a 0 to 115 to 135 is, it's a rising class.
Significant rise in class, but he didn't appear to be fancied when he won here, and yet he did it in with a bold display of front running and good jumping, and had plenty left to draw away from the rivals when they challenged him. Yeah, an unknown quantity still.
Jerby won his novice hurdle at Toast at the end of April, but he hasn't quite done it over fences so far. It's been a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, 4th at Hereford, but that's the race in which the redeemed Steel de Garde refused the race, and he was second favourite, and he didn't really go in that at all. He never seemed to be going with any zest.
Stamp Your Feet won a nice race at Hereford a while ago. It's looking a very long while ago based on some of his runs since.
It is, yes. I mean, at least he stays very well, and the ground will be all right. Chasing Debut. Oh, stranger things have happened.
He's a nice-looking horse, Del Oro. So many walk in the parks are. And he has got 2 wins on the board, but a day to forget in many, many ways for Gary Moore's team. It's unthinkable, really, all those horses stuck in traffic for that long, and this is the chance to take something out of it with Del Oro and Joshua Moore. They're being called in. Here's Tim.
Thanks, David. Yeah, the A14 is a brutal road. They are now being called forward then to the starter. 6 runners, some nice progressive types in here. They're off racing for the Weatherby's Racing Bank Chase over 2 miles and 4 furlongs, and as was the case here on Boxing Day, Well Smitten has gone into the lead from Mbole in second. Then comes Del Oro, Jerby, Stripes of Niven, and Stamp Your Feet, who's on Chasing Debut as they clear the first. All over it. Okay, good jump by the leader, Well Smitten, who jumped impeccably round here on Chasing Debut as they head down towards the water. And as the 6 runners all get over, about 8 lengths between first and last. Well Smitten and Jack Quinlan in the lead then from in second place Mbole. Del Oro has the rail with Jerby for company. Niven out wider, and Stamp Your Feet is widest of all as they head towards fence number 3. As the 6 runners all stream over safely, they now head towards an open ditch. Well Smitten, nose-banded runner by the rail. Out wide is Mbole in the blue and yellow as they clear the open ditch. All 6 over again. Stamp Your Feet, the back marker on Chasing Debut, and those green and gold hoops. Del Oro's by the rail in purple and black corded colours as they head towards another plain fence, the final one down the back straight. Over in 4th was Jerby in the colours of Trevor Hemmings, the yellow and green quarters, white sleeves. The Stripes of Niven, Richard Johnson on board for Phil Kirby, and Stamp Your Feet, Jonathan Berg looking for a second winner on the day. So they've cleared the first 5 and all jumping okay so far. Well Smitten in the lead. Mbole, who's up in distance today, with Harry Skelton on board, running about a length or so down in second. Then comes Del Oro, who's in behind, with Jerby and also Niven. Those black sleeves, and at the back still is Stamp Your Feet, as the front pair now are pretty much upside. Mbole moving alongside Well Smitten as they now head down the home straight, where they'll be greeted by 4 more fences. So Well Smitten on the far side, down on this near side is Mbole, heading towards fence number 6. Little between the pair as they all get over safely again. Del Oro's on that far side, along with Jerby. Then in behind Jerby, or moving alongside again, is Niven. And then Stamp Your Feet as they jump the next. Well Smitten just caught the top of it, but not really an error. And then Mbole just moves alongside again as they now head up towards the winning post. They'll jump the open ditch right in front of us. And as they head down towards it, this is fence number 8. Well Smitten and Mbole both will look for a stride here at the open ditch. Mbole just about in the lead as they come towards it, and both just jumping out to their left there, but they've got over okay. In behind is Del Oro with Jerby as well. Then comes Niven and Stamp Your Feet as they head towards another plain fence before they go out into the country. Mbole on the outside again, just going out to the left there, just losing a length or so in the air. Niven also jumped out to the left, and Stamp Your Feet was a bit sticky at the back. So Well Smitten in the lead again by about half a length to Mbole, who's in second place. Harry Skelton just moving Mbole upside Well Smitten, 4 lengths to Del Oro. Then comes Niven, then comes Jerby and Stamp Your Feet, who's about 6 lengths off the pace, just getting back towards the end of the tail of the runners as they jump the first fence down the far side, and they all take it okay. And Mbole on the outside of Well Smitten as they head towards the water. Del Oro's on the inside. Again, Niven just jumping out to the left. Jerby was a little bit sticky there, just being joined by Stamp Your Feet as they now make their way down towards the middle fence down the back straight. So Well Smitten by the rail with Mbole. Here's Bricks running slightly wider, heading towards the next. Again out to the left, Mbole. Del Oro is going the shortest way round and is very much in touch. In behind that is Niven as they head towards the open ditch with Jerby next. Then Stamp Your Feet. Again going right out to the left, Mbole. Took Well Smitten with him, and also Niven's been going a bit out to the left. Now just tracking back towards the inside as Mbole has a length in hand over Del Oro as they jump the next fence. Again Mbole out to the left. Well Smitten's jumping, just falling apart now. As moving into third place is Niven. Under pressure is Jerby. Stamp Your Feet and Well Smitten both being hard ridden. Well Smitten is dropping away very tamely. So making their way towards the long sweeping turn for home. Mbole in front then. I've been tripped for the first time today, going on from Del Oro in second place, the pace winding up all the time. In third place is Niven, trying to get on terms. Then comes Jerby. Stamp Your Feet is being hard ridden back in fifth, and a long gap back to Well Smitten. So they've got 2 left to jump. Mbole only half a length clear of Del Oro. Then in behind is Niven, who's 2 lengths behind, 2 lengths back to Jerby, who's trying to get on terms with them. And then comes Stamp Your Feet, a long gap back to Well Smitten, heading towards the final 2 fences then. And as they head towards it, Del Oro for the first time touches down, bumps into Mbole, who went out to his left again. Trying to run on is Niven in behind, and then comes Jerby and Stamp Your Feet heading to the final fence. Then Del Oro clear by 2 lengths, a mistake. Mbole almost down there. Niven into second place, then comes Jerby, then comes Stamp Your Feet into fourth place. Del Oro being hard ridden, being chased by Niven in second place. He's got 3 lengths to find on Del Oro, but Del Oro staying on strongly here for Joshua Moore and Gary Moore. They deserve the winner of the day they've had getting up here. Del Oro is the winner. Stamp Your Feet stayed on really well for second. Niven was next, then came Jerby, and Mbole's bad mistake at the last cost him dearly. He was fifth.
Del Oro has won under top weight, the 13-8 favourite for Gary Moore. Joshua Moore in the saddle from Stamp Your Feet, who's shown there's still plenty of, it wasn't a request, it was... I've totally lost my thread now. He showed there's still life in him in storming home for second, just snatching that off. Niven, they clattered into each other, didn't they? Mbole and Del Oro. Looking at the size of the 2 horses, only going to be 1 winner in that particular match. But Mbole made a bad mistake at the last and was understandably eased. He's got it done, Del Oro.
He has, and it is right, isn't it? I mean, they've had a really frustrating afternoon, and they finally got here with 1 runner, and it has won. And I think you can't. There is some sort of poetic justice in that.
I couldn't agree more. When you think they might have been coming here today with big fancies really. Beat the judge and the flying sofa. They wouldn't have been expecting that to be far away.
No, they could well have had 3 winners, particularly the way the Chatteris Fen worked out. And anyway, they've had one. The anticipated pace war actually did take place, and they've gone at it, and they've rather done for each other, and they've both started jumping out to the left, and it's all been a bit frantic up front.
It certainly did for Well Smitten. It's hard to know where Mbole would have finished. My gut feeling is he'd have been 4th, but then you don't know, because Jerby was plugging on as well, and it's hard to judge.
I wouldn't want to judge Mbole on this, because he's had to work hard to get to the front, and there's no absolute guarantee he's going to definitely relish the trip yet. But he stayed there for a long time. There's encouragement from all sorts of runners here. I mean, Jerby's made mistakes, but he's performed a lot better than he has in his first 2 chases. I thought half a mile before this that you could forget him.
How he's got away with that, Del Oro.
I know.
He's paddled his way through it. When he took off, or rather didn't take off, I was expecting him to hit the ground, but he's quite a strapping horse.
He is, and he shrugged it off quite happily, and you always felt that Mbole would probably empty, which he does. And Stamp Your Feet has been given a proper ride from a long way out by Jonathan Burke, and it just looked to be a losing battle, but he stayed on well. He stays 3 miles, and on this evidence, that's return to that over fences, and he'll be winning races.
They'll just be pleased that he's shown something, having barely beaten a horse of late. Is both runs in the spring and on his return at Aintree. There's that collision between Del Oro and Mbole.
Yes,
Make a Niven's run, right?
But no more. I mean, he moved up to look a threat after 3 out, and then he's just sort of plugged on at one pace, hasn't he? Whether it's the limit of his stamina, or whether just that's as good as he is, I'm not quite sure. But in the end, he couldn't even hold on for second, as Del Oro is maintaining a pretty ready distance between himself and Niven.
With Jerby, without going overboard, obviously Well Smitten being pulled up, he was taken on, and that combined with the rising class, it's combined to put pay to him. You'd be a bit happier with Jerby, would you?
Oh yeah, definitely, because he really hasn't done terribly well